want to share some hints and tips that help me from screwing up a project. And you know what I mean by screwing up. Getting the wrong amounts of these guys, A and B. Too many A's, too many B's, you mix up the whole solution. I've got the perfect little way to fix that. So hang on tight and I'll share a few more. Bye. Hey everyone, I wanted to share with you some additional tips that help me out when creating resin art. One of them, which I think is the most valuable one that I use, we all run into this problem. Using resin, it's usually an A and B thing. And if we put too much of one and we forget the other, we're in a pickle because the stuff's not going to cure no matter what we do. So what I usually end up doing is I get out my trusty container that I'm going to mix it in, bring the two containers over that I'm going to measure from, grab my one container, pour from it. As soon as I am done filling with it, I put it an arm's length away. Like, way over there. Bye-bye, I'm done with you. That way I know, like, I get a phone call, Munchkin comes running in. Mama, I got a question. Whatever the disruption is, I know always that's the next one because the solutions are clear. You can't really tell them apart. It's like you go, which one did I do? Which one? I'm not sure. It has helped me out quite a bit. So there's that tip. Put it an arm's length away when you're done with it. Have that thought, I'm done with you. Okay. The other thing is my station isn't perfect. I've got a messy little bottom here on my table, and that's okay. These actually happen to be old baby, I guess you can call them mattress covers. They're embedded with a rubber or something like that. They've got flannel on both sides. After babies got old enough, I confiscated them in a hurry for the art area because it offered a great surface. But that's just my mixing zone, and I'm not saying that's part of the tips. I was just showing that part. Anyway, I have over here my mixing cup galore station. Okay, obviously big mixing for the big batches of resin, and then just distributing them into colors or what have you nots on this part of it. I have my go-to colors that I use on a regular basis. I don't have to dig them out. Usually I almost always have some like a little bling it in there, a type of a gold, and I've been messing around with these powdered golds from Just Resin, which I really like. And then this is a new bling it from Resin Art that I'm gonna start playing with a little bit more regular. So those are like my go-tos. They're almost always, but not always, you know, something I grab a lot. So I keep those readily and available. There's a little back bucket there. I messed up this one container and can't get the resin out. It bonded really well with the sides. Tried. So I'm just reusing the container for something else. Old caps and tops and stuff. And this was a tip from Jeff over at Ours Till Death. And these things here pick off fairly well. Actually, I don't know if they pick off as well from the matte ones, but the glossy caps, they work. So it's a good little, you know, riser for your art piece. So things that need something round like that, like canvases, I've got a bucket full of those guys. Always have my alcohol. And then over here, I got my heat gun, but I wanted, more importantly, to address this issue. I made sure that I put it on something that was nice and solid and wasn't a heat problem. In other words, I'm not going to burn it on my table. It's nice and sturdy and safe. My mixing sticks are in containers for various sizes. Again, old mixing cups for some reason or another. Skinny little bits for scraping the plastic. Mixing all my colors and stuff, and then for the big ones, or my little silicone effects. So that comes in handy. I know where the things are that I need to grab. Okay, here's another tip. And this has to do with when you have too much resin. I always have this little, I guess you can say basket here, and it's full of goodies. I've got like little, you know, Petri dish molds. Throw this off to the side, make a mess. But I've also got a variation of other molds. And if you notice, I try to keep them facing down, and that keeps the dust and debris out of them. It's just easy, just flip them over. So I can grab a mold if I want to real quick. Yep, JJ, I still need to do my little skull molds here. But that's okay, I'll get you. So that's fun. And I've got a bunch of the little square canvases. They can turn out kind of fun too. I've got some big chunky resin, or I'm sorry, glitter over here. I know where I keep those. They usually end up taking a lot of space up, so I keep it there. Now the one down below it, over in this section here, are all my new colors that I need to try out. So they haven't been used yet. I don't have my big old color dot that I usually do on top of them. Let me show you what I mean real quick. See, whenever I do a color for the first time, I put a big old blob so that I know exactly what it looks like in resin. Sometimes it's close, sometimes it's a lot different. So that's why I like to do it. It also helps out with auditioning your colors. So those are in there. Now I do have a couple of exceptions, like diamond dust is a go-to thing, but because it's in a little bag, it's hard to just leave it on the counter there. So I have it in a stash with a couple other things from Stone Coat over here. And I've also got my tint bottles because they can stand upright, or most of the time they can stand upright here. So have an area however you work so that you always know, hey, I got a little extra resin, need to grab something. It's over here. What colors am I going to play with today? Well, let's try out some of the new colors and maybe mix it in with some of your go-to colors. So there's some things there that can help you out. The other thing is yeah, I did a double little is there. I've got over here in a box here, it's just a cardboard box, but I've got swiping papers that I've already torn, and they are falling everywhere. That's in that spot. So it always has its spot. I've also got some pieces down here that need a second coat. And so if I have enough resin left over, or clear resin, I can give these guys a clear coat. I've got a little spot here for my screwdriver and my scissors. So that's always in there. I always try to put it back where it belongs. Now this little guy here is a baker's rack. You can get these conveniently at restaurant supplies and sometimes used restaurant supplies. Now this one is a double size. You can get them in half size where they go about here down, but I knew that I was going to be in a small space with the resin, and I know I've got a big studio, me saying small space is kind of silly, but I knew my resin zone was going to be small. So what I've got set up is about the top third is supplies. So each one of these has my colors that are really convenient, very easy to get to. I could pull it out and see, you can see how the tops really come in handy real quickly. This one here is full of glitter. This one here, I've got a bunch of coasters on it. And then this top one here, sorry, let me pan up. You're not looking where my hands were because I didn't move the phone up. These are pre-cut sheets of parchment paper. And you can get those on Amazon. They either come for these really big trays or the next tray down size, I believe. You can also get them in circles and stuff like that. But it comes in super handy for just throwing a sheet on here. This stuff, I mean, there's like hardly any effort to get it to peel off. So it's super easy to clean up. You can use these suckers over and over and over again. Really good. Also use them, I throw them on the surface when I'm starting to do alcohol ink, because you know that alcohol ink can go everywhere. And yeah, I can clean up with alcohol, but I can also throw a couple of sheets on top of it and work on my next project and keep the momentum going. The other thing I keep in handy are, I showed you the top cans, or the caps for paint. And these are also kind of risers for painters as well. They're like just little plastic triangles. They stack up super well. The resin peels off them, except for the holes. I have to work at the holes sometimes, but that's all right. And they're inexpensive. I think I got these from Amazon. I get most of my stuff from Amazon. I'm in a small town. Sorry. But it is a basic hardware supply, so that comes in handy too. While I'm at it, I'm going to show you my alcohol inks. Now, I splurged a little bit, and I got me this handy dandy tray. I think it was over at Michael's. And in fact, I don't even really need a lot of these little guys, but I like this one here to put the dryer on. But, you know, this is like little makeup organizers, I think maybe for nail polish or lipstick or something like that. It's just enough to keep these little guys contained in this area. I'll throw in a couple cups for my brushes and alcohol and stuff. And then, you know, again, set it up how you like to work. I've got little bottles here that I made up with Resin Art, and of course I'm mixing it up and you can't see, sorry. Resin Art and alcohol, so they're easy to get to. I can either grab one or grab the whole tray out. I've got these little guys here, they're little stackable ceramics. One side is nice little gentle scoop, whereas the other side is has a little bit more space to it for mixing colors. And with alcohol, you can let them dry out, reactivate a little bit with a couple drips of alcohol. So those come in handy too. Got those little brushes that Jen recommended. And then down there, I always have several gloves and some paper towels folded up and ready to go. Because you just don't know when you're in the moment. It's like either whoopsies or you need a fresh glove or something. You got too much blue and you're wanting to work in a clear space. And you need to grab some gloves in a hurry. Now, with alcohol ink, I will have a tendency to clean off my gloves. And I can use them a few more times. Unless they get really, nasty with sweat. And, well, we won't go into that. But, so those are some general hints and tips. Oh, I forgot the best one, I think. When you also have a little bit of resin left over, have some projects that are on hand that, I'm not quite happy with it. Maybe I'll do a second coat, and maybe the colors you happen to be working on this project might make this project really sing. And I had that happen recently where I had a project that was just like, I lost my mojo, wasn't real happy with it. It was like, I was kind of in the moment that day, but the next day I looked at it, it was like, meh. But I put that second coat on them and they really just sung, and that made everything happen well. So these are ready to go. There's another hints and tip video I've got out there where it has a little bit of latex on it. So this latex is already still intact. So it's ready to go and be poured on if I want to do a second coat. So I have these handy next to my resin area. So hopefully that'll help you out with some thoughts. Important, I always think, set it up how you work. If you're working really neat and tidy, things need to be alphabetized, then make it neat and tidy and alphabetized. Me, that would drive me nuts. But I've got just, I guess you can say, kind of a common sense cleanup where, all my cups are together, kind of all the same brands are together. I don't even have them organized for colors, but I do have them organized for brands, and that seems to help. All right, I hope this helps you out, and have fun creating and share what you got. And if you got any hints and tips you want me to make a video of, or something you want me to explore, leave it in the comments below, and subscribe and hit that bell. See you later.